Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and with me are Shruti Mishra and Ritu Singh. These are the top headlines from the startup world. B2B seafood supply chain startup Captain Fresh files confidential IPO papers with SEBI to raise 1,700 crore rupees via fresh issue in upcoming IPO. The firm expects to raise 1,200 crore rupees from the fresh issue. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the startup aims for total issue size of $400 million, including an OFS. IPO proceeds to be used for debt repayment.
Artha India Ventures has closed its follow-on fund, Artha Select Fund, at 432 crore rupees, a 131% above its 330 crore rupee target. With this, Artha's total assets under management have crossed 1,200 crore rupees. ASF will invest in the top 15% of performers from Artha's existing portfolio.
Former K Capital partner Natasha Malpani has launched Boundless Ventures, an early-stage fund with 200 crore rupees corpus to support AI startups in India. Malpani has left K Capital earlier this year. The fund has been raised from Malpani's personal network of friends and family and has already made 6 investments.
Enterprise AI startup Cohere has raised $500 million at a valuation of $6.8 billion, led by Radical Ventures, NVIDIA, Salesforce Ventures, and others. The company will use the new funding to advance agentic AI that can help businesses and governments operate more efficiently.
Google will pay a $35.8 million fine in Australia after the competition watchdog found it hurt rivals by paying the country's 2 biggest telcos to pre-install its search app on Android phones. The ACC said Google admitted the deals impacted competition and has stopped signing similar arrangements.
Those are all the headlines that we're tracking for you today on Startup Street. Now, B2B seafood supply chain startup Captain Fresh has filed its IPO papers with the market regulator SEBI through the confidential route. We understand from sources that the startup is looking to raise as much as 1,700 crore rupees through a fresh issue. Aishwarya Anand has picked up these details and joins in with the fine print. Aishwarya.
There's no slowing down the IPO momentum on Dalal Street. And the latest to join the list is seafood supply chain startup Captain Fresh, which has filed confidential papers with SEBI eyeing a 1,200 crore fresh issue as part of a total $400 million IPO with proceeds largely earmarked for debt repayment, sources have told CNBC-TV18. Backed by marquee investors like Prosus, Axel and Tiger Global, Captain Fresh has already raised over $200 million to date, including a $30 million pre-IPO round earlier this year. Financially, the company is on a strong footing. In FY25, it clocked 3,200 crore rupees in revenue, 120 crore rupees in EBITDA and a 40 crore net profit. It has also beefed up its board, adding 3 independent directors as part of a push to strengthen governance ahead of listing. Today, the company gets nearly all of its revenue from international markets with a footprint stretching across the US, Europe, the Middle East and China.
Well, thank you, Aishwarya, for those details. Appreciate you joining us. Also on What's Brewing, password fatigue, phishing and AI-powered impersonation attacks. Identity has become the weakest link in enterprise security. And that is where One Cosmos comes in. The New Jersey-headquartered identity verification and passwordless authentication platform has raised $57 million in Series B funding to scale globally and fight impersonation threats with biometrics, blockchain and AI. With marquee clients from banks to governments already on board, the company is on a mission to build a passwordless future. Joining me now on Startup Street is Heyman Vimat-Dalal, CEO of One Cosmos. Heyman, welcome to Startup Street. You've previously said that identity is the first step in the kill chain. What is the gap in the market that One Cosmos is solving, and how do you stop sophisticated impersonation attacks before they even begin?
Yeah, thank you, Shruti, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be with you today and talk about the journey and the story of One Cosmos. But, look, it used to be a world where there was a lot of sophistication that used to happen. It's no longer that world anymore.
Sure.
Within the 30 seconds to 2 minutes of someone's voice, someone's face, you're able to kind of impersonate that person with very basic tools. If now the father of AI, in today's modern AI, Sam Altman comes and says, the biggest risk that keeps him up at night is fraud and impersonation
Yes,
of
yes.
identification someone, on the internet. That means this problem statement is a massive problem statement. And what we've done is over the last, 5 years, we knew this problem statement was going to kind of explode because teenagers were able to kind of scam individuals sitting out of the UK, sitting out of the Russia, right? And able to compromise individuals and steal billions of dollars from them, from their bank accounts.
Sure.
And so we came in and we said we need to disrupt the way identity happens.
Yes.
Over the last 20 years. And the first couple of years were very challenging for us because we had to educate the market that this really needs disruption. And the way you need to do it is in a decentralized way.
Yeah, so talk to us about the live biometrics, the blockchain-based identity storage and AI-driven verification. If you could simplify for us the magic sauce that makes One Cosmos hard to replicate, and do enterprises see cost savings and efficiency gains as well beyond just stronger security?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like I said, over the last 20 years, Shruti, people have used identity infrastructures as centralized databases, right? And that now becomes a honeypot of information. And so what we said is, if you have a honeypot of information, if a single attack can expose all identities, all your personal information, why use that architecture? So we disrupted that architecture and we said we got to get to a decentralized architecture to kind of have the internet of identity, right? And so we created a blockchain-based system that is completely decentralized in nature, privacy-preserving, consent-based architecture. And on top of that, we added modern AI tools to identify an individual so that we have cryptographic proof every time he authenticates and verifies himself on the internet. Remember, over the last 60 years, the only way you've identified yourself on the internet, in your banking, in your telecommunication, in your healthcare, has been through a password. You are just a password on the internet. And we have disrupted that, kind of legacy thinking.
So very quickly, take us through what the Series B round means for One Cosmos. What are the immediate priorities for deploying this capital? And what new geographies are you eyeing for expansion? Basically, what's next in terms of product innovation as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this round is, of course, a pretty sizable round. We've always come with a very bootstrap mentality. But I think, over the last 18 months, what we've seen is we've tripled our ARR, right? So it's become extremely exciting for our existing investors, myself, who's doubled down on our investments. And all the existing investors kind of came and joined this round and then kind of increased their kind of share into the round as well. The way we're going to be utilizing is this 1/3 of the capital is going to go towards go-to-market motion. So we got to increase our velocity because the market is calling us. The other 1/3 is going to go towards, total R&D and AI-led solutions. And the other 1/3 is going to go towards kind of talent acquisition because I want to expand the leadership team. Yeah.
All right. Finally, tell us, what's your take on the future of passwords? Are we really at the tipping point of a passwordless world?
My wife tells me every day, how bad are you? You're promoting a passwordless solution, but you've still not removed my passwords. Shruti, that still is the mission. I'm going to work towards it. Today, we are managing about 75 million users on the platform who are passwordless, 1 billion authentications on the day, every day. So on the platform, so super excited about that. That mission still remains. Passwords, are getting obsolete. They're no longer going to be a viable form of authentication. And we are at the forefront of that kind of change and transformation. Yeah.
All right. We wish you more success for that mission of yours. Many thanks for joining us today on Startup Street.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Yeah.
And moving on what's brewing today, Elivaas, a luxury vacation rental platform, has raised 87 crore rupees in a Series B round led by Vertex Ventures Southeast Asia and India, with participation from existing backers Peak 15 Partners, Surge and 314 Capital. Founded just 2 years ago, Elivaas is now present in 30 Indian destinations and has clocked 5x year-on-year revenue growth. The fresh capital will be used to strengthen its technology backbone, double down on high-demand destinations in India and prepare for global expansion. Joining me now to discuss this further us Ritvik Khare, the founder and CEO of Elivaas. Ritvik, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, let me begin by asking you, you're a luxury vacation rental platform, and this is sort of becoming a crowded space, right? So what's your edge over your rivals, both Indian and international? If you could take us through what's on offer really quickly.
No, thank you for having me on the Startup Street, and a pleasure and honor both. Absolutely, you know, your comment gets me thinking. It's actually the reverse. The situation is actually that this space doesn't have a nice, trustworthy, competent brand tackling the two-sided problem that we are tackling. So Elivaas is actually serving the homeowner, people who buy second homes across the country and abroad as well, eventually. And also likewise for travelers, while there are many large luxury brands whom they can blindly trust on the hotels front, there is no one single brand whom they can target on the villas and apartments front or the second home front in that sense. So for us, the way we see it, it's the fastest growing category. It's growing at 10x the hotels demand and supply side both, which is a rare combination. And on that, I think there is a massive gap in the market of somebody solving it at scale with technology and with the brand promise that Elivaas brings onto the table.
Right. So it's a fast-growing market. So you see a lot of opportunity here. You know, with this fresh 87 crore rupees in funding that you have, right? What will be your top three priorities? Expansion, tech, global growth? What's on top of the agenda to spend this money right now?
Yeah, actually, three things, and obviously at the core of all that is good talent. We have a fantastic founding team, but on top of that, you know, given that we are scaling very fast, I think talent is at the core of it. But the three priorities for the team are, you know, would be to strengthen our tech for both the homeowner as well as the traveler, and somebody we serve very passionately, which is the caretaker of the home. So tech for all the three ecosystem players. Building the brand, we've done phenomenally well with customer experience, with about 1.5 lakh customers having experienced us in the last 24 months. Now it's the time to take the story out a little more and ensure that more and more owners as well as travelers get to hear about our brand. And lastly, also very important that we build out our expansion roadmap within India first, and then you know, internationally as well. We are a brand for Indians, and obviously we've got to expand accordingly to ensure that we are there for wherever they want to go.
Yeah. And, you know, speaking about expansion, right, you've spoken about deepening your penetration in India, which you just mentioned. So which travel destinations or markets are you doubling down on first, and how soon will you take Elivaas global?
Yeah. Thank you. Great question. So we started with Goa, which is India's tourism capital. And I think when we started the company, we said everyone has one interest in India, at least within the country, which is Goa. So started with Goa, then expanded to North India, the hills, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Rajasthan, Delhi, NCR as well. And then moved to the west of India, which is Maharashtra, Lonavala, Alibaug, the big destinations. And then now we've started doing work in Kerala and South India. Ooty, etc. Eventually, very soon, early next year, we'll launch our East India presence. And sometime in the next 2 quarters is when we intend to take our brand to within 5-hour flying destinations of India, which are the most popular with Indians. Like I said, again, for Indians, we want to be the go-to brand as far as their choice for staying in a home is concerned. And the reality today is that the minute you have more than 3 or 4 people traveling, there is a big need for people to figure out an ACO which gives you more than a room. And I think that's where Elivaas steps in. And likewise for homeowners, I think they need a trustworthy brand with whom they can trust their emotional asset, which is their real estate, for somebody to manage it like a big hotel brand in that sense.
Sure. You know, you've been around for about 2 years now, right? So you've seen about 5x revenue growth in FY24 to 25. What are sort of the key drivers behind this sharp growth trajectory? And if you could take us through where you hope to close this year?
Yeah, so we are going to be doing a 3x growth on the last year's number. And like if you see one of our posts, we've grown in the last 20 months, we've grown our supply about 50x, and we've grown our demand at about 12x in the last 20 months. Mainly caused by 2 or 3 things. So we are a very strong distribution platform. So we build out the entire distribution at 6 or 7 core pillars, without going into details right now. So distribution and selling capability is our big strength. The second actually is what's really leading to a phenomenal, I would say, adoption by customers, is we have a absolutely stunning track record of 5-on-5 customer reviews with our customers. So we continue to be at 94% at reasonable scale, five-star experience with our customers. And I believe that is really catapulting the word of mouth growth in that sense. And lastly is the fact that, look, very fast we've given enough choice to consumers. So hence you're able to cater to a large part of their needs already. And that's the idea with expanding to the whole country eventually.
All right, Ritwik, we're completely out of time, but thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, with that, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up, Pune-based defense tech startup Olee Space bags $3 million in seed funding from both domestic and international investors. How does the firm plan to use the funds? We put the founder on the hot seat to find out more. Stay tuned.
Pune-based defense tech startup Olee Space has raised $3 million in seed funding from both domestic and international investors. Founded in 2023, Olee Space builds super-fast, ultra-secure communication systems which use laser beams instead of radio waves to send data between Earth, air, and space. It also develops high-powered laser weapons to track and disable enemy drones or satellites, and it plans to use this fresh money to scale up production, enhance quantum-secure communication protocols, and expand its directed energy weapon systems. For more on their plans ahead, joining me now is the company's the founder and CEO, James Solomon. James, thank you very much for your time here. Very simply for our viewers to understand, tell us about the company and how you now plan to allocate this $3 million that you raised.
Hi. We founded this company with a particular intent that, unlike other startups, right? So we founded this thing to make sure that country progresses in three segments: telecom, defense, and space. And when we found what's connecting over here and the background of what we do has been aligned with the light, right? So it's optical communications. And so that is how we started this. And then we saw how is it benefiting in the longer run for the country. So it's always been a country specific and in country oriented kind of a system that we're running. And the funds also, the backers that we have got are excellent. SEBI, IIM Ahmedabad, Rockshot Capital. Then we have got some fund, our lead investor from Vietnam. And also it all brings together the particular scope. We're working on the communications, but not forgetting the initial steps can also be used for high energy laser destruction weapons that the country right now is wanting to develop, right? So we are developing that platform. So we work across 4 segments. We work across terrestrial, drones, HAPS, high altitude zeros, and then space as well. Keeping in mind the recipe is almost slightly different, and then we work across the segments. The initial planning to deploy these funds is we deploy 80% of the funds on the hardware itself and 20% on OPEX. So that is how it is. And going further, and we'll be raising as well, this would be the deployment strategy that puts in as an asset heavy company, and our plans also stronger for the next 20-30 years. Yeah.
Well, James, briefly tell us, beyond defense contracts, what sort of monetization opportunities do you see in civilian sectors that you're talking about, and how soon will revenue ramp up from these?
Sure. So our market is spread across 3 segments. So that's telecom, then data centers, and then defense.
Yeah.
So the defense segment is partly mentioned about, it covers in 20% of the market for us. The rest is civilian segments, that's data centers and the optical data interconnects that we're planning to develop right now, most of which it's in the TRL 3, TRL 4 status right now. And the telecom sector, wherein companies, so I'll not name the companies, but in India and as well as the world, wherein people are marching from 3G to 4G and then 4G to 5G, right? So that is the segment that we're tracking in the middle mile networks, the tower to tower segments, replacing the underground fiber optic cable. Yeah. This is a great segment.
All right. Very briefly, at what stage is your directed energy? James, very briefly, at what stage is your directed energy weapon platform? And how soon do you anticipate commercial or defense-grade deployment of it?
6 months to be perfect. So we'll be having our first commercial product out in 6 months, and that is our DW weapons. We have already done it in-house. We have done it on the labs as well. So 6 months, you can see it out and running. Yeah.
And are you in talks with the Indian Armed Forces, ISRO, private satellite operators for the pilot programs? And, any further details you could share there?
Yeah, so predominantly, yes, with the country's defense and as well as outside our country as well to the allied forces. We are in talks, in good talks with them. And in terms of deployment also, you'll hear from us onto that scale. But both the segments are kept differently. As a private company, we adhere to the global norm, global and geopolitical situations as well. We do not mix both the supply chains together, and that has been kept separate since the day one. So the allocation is always different.
Okay. I see. James, finally, very briefly, will you build manufacturing capacity in-house, or, are there strategic partners you're scouting for as well?
So there are pretty much good strategic partners that are developed over the past 5 years. This includes international partners outside as well. And then Indian partners are very well good with us in terms of the governance that is provided by the country. It's always good. And we have been able to put in about 95% indigenization in both the segments as well as on date.
All right, James, unfortunately, that's all the time we had. But thank you for graciously answering all of those questions. We wish you the best with your programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Moving on, India's largest electric two-wheeler maker, Ola Electric, is facing a reality check. It once commanded over a third of the market, but its hold has slipped as rivals TVS and Bajaj have hit the accelerator. CNBC-TV18's Rachna Dhanrajani reports that the company is now banking on a slew of innovations to turn the tables, but it has a tough road to navigate. Take a look.
Bhavish Agarwal's Ola Electric may still be the largest EV two-wheeler maker in India, but it's not finding it easy to maintain traction. From a 34% market share in FY23, it now enjoys just a 29% share.
At a time when Ola Electric is facing heat over losing market share after sales service complaints, the company is firing back with a flurry of announcements. Here at its Gigafactory in Krishnagiri,
the first is the unveiling of its 4680 Bharat cell, which it has developed in-house. Ola claims this is India's first indigenously developed lithium-ion cell and is banking on it to provide supply chain independence and technological advancement.
You can see the Gigafactory is fully functional, the 4680 cell is ready, And the first announcement was that our 4680 cells will be in our products this quarter. Both our bike at the top end and our scooter at the top end to have our 4680 cells in them, which is frankly a major milestone in the Indian EV journey. The first Indian cell, the first Indian gigafactory, in the first products with the Indian cell.
Ola Electric's gigafactory at Krishnagiri in Tamil Nadu was supposed to hit 100 gigawatt hours capacity by 2030. But so far, only 3 to 5 gigawatt hours is operational. But Agarwal insists the capacity expansion target will be met. He's also betting on further delinking from traditional supply chains to keep Ola Electric's engines ticking over. One such move is the company's bet on rare earth-free ferrite motors to power its vehicles. This, it says, will cut its dependence on China. It is also hoping that advances in consumer-facing technology for a better riding experience will help bring back the lost market share. Case in point, the Move OS 6, an AI-powered upgrade promising co-pilot features, smart range insights, and even ADAS in two-wheelers.
You can talk to the scooter. Interesting things like switch on all the lights or play a song or whatever, which many people do with our vehicles. You can do that. You can actually have a smart assistant now in your Ola Electric app where you can say, tell me how to increase range, and it'll give you suggestions on how to increase range. And then it's going to bring this whole suite of safety features on the platform of ADAS. These AI features are at production scale, first time in the country.
But there's no denying that Ola's fundamentals remain under pressure. In FY25, the company burned over 1,700 crore rupees to expand capacity and sales. Its losses, meanwhile, widened to over 2,200 crore rupees from close to 1,500 crore rupees in FY24. Agarwal, however, is not losing hope.
We have a good balance between profitability and growth, and you will start seeing our market share increase as our new products come into the market, as our bike scales up. Festive is going to be this festive is looking good for us.
His next big bet is on the upcoming festive season, and Agarwal is putting his money on the Roadster X to drive performance. He has also announced another round of price cuts to make Ola's vehicles more attractive this festive season. But the company's problems go beyond poor sales numbers and complaints. They're about vehicles catching fire, suffering software glitches, poor after-sales service, and even government probes. Gaps in paperwork and clearances have also forced the closure of many of its outlets. But Agarwal says these are being tackled, as are its run-ins with the stock market regulator.
So on the sales numbers, we've been engaging with SEBI. We also clarified there was a bit of confusion created by our February numbers because we went through a process change in our registration. And Q1 के results में भी हमने बहुत clearly numbers-wise clarify. Actually, Q4 के results में clarify कर दिया था. So more or less, I think whatever any of these regulatory agencies wanted from us, we've engaged and given them the answers. And as they have more questions, we will clarify.
For Ola Electric, the stakes couldn't be higher. Ola Electric has a lot to do to regain regulatory and consumer trust. And all the while, rivals like TVS and Bajaj are raising their game in the EV two-wheeler arena and chipping away at Ola's lead. Experts say Ola may need more than promises and gimmicks and price cuts to find its rhythm again. In Bengaluru, Rachna Dhanrajani.
Well, with that, it's a wrap from Ritu, Arundhati and me, Shruti, on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.